Straight ahead on CCX News, one road, two speed limits. Why drivers need to pay close attention to their speed in different directions on County Road 81. Plus, a proposal to go solar in Brooklyn Park. The costs up front and what it would mean for the city long term. And later in Health Check, helping kids cut back on sugar. CCX News starts right now.
Hello and thanks for joining us. Drivers using a segment of County Road 81 need to pay close attention to the posted speed limit.
That's because it is not the same in each direction. And CCX News reporter Eric Nelson explains why.
The speed limits are set by MnDOT for different roadways, and we put in a request for this roadway for this construction area, and they had to approve that request.
One highway, two speed limits. That's the case on County Road 81 between I-94 in Brooklyn Park and Bass Lake Road in Crystal.
We need people to take their time through those areas.
The northbound speed limit is 45 miles per hour. Southbound is 55. The lower speed is a buffer, getting drivers ready for an upcoming road construction area.
And so the idea would be to sort of get motorists to slow down in preparation for that construction ahead.
Different speed limits on the same road are not uncommon. But in the case of County Road 81, there are no warnings about decreasing your speed when traveling north.
What I think might be unusual for people is that typically they might see something like a construction speed limit zone sign or something. In this case, we're talking just a standard looking speed limit sign.
10 miles per hour might not seem like much to some, but for the construction workers in a cone zone, it's a very good thing.
If you talk to any number of the people that work on these projects and you see the cars going by, that difference in 10 miles per hour can be quite huge for those workers out there.
Regardless of the speed limit, there's always one basic rule to adhere to when you see orange barrels or cones. Slow down. In Brooklyn Park, I'm Eric Nelson, CCX News.
And the County Road 81 reconstruction project will finish later this year. It is not known, though, if the speed limit will go back to the 55 mile per hour.
A former Champlin Park girls soccer coach has reached a plea deal in a sexual misconduct case involving a 13-year-old boy. According to the charges, 33-year-old Rebecca Noonan had intercourse with the boy at his Champlin home while family members were away. In a court document, Noonan said she was so drunk or so under the influence of drugs or medicine that she did not know what she was doing. Noonan will be sentenced in April.
In Maple Grove, a mixed vote for a project that got mixed reviews. A Birmingham, Alabama company had proposed to tear down the former IHOP restaurant off I-94 and Weaver Lake Road and replace it with a self-storage facility. The existing IHOP building is 15 feet tall, but the new building would be 3 times as high. Despite computer renderings that tried to convince the city council that the building would be less obtrusive and shielded partially by trees, some city council members still had concerns about the size of the building. Residents also hoped the property would stay zoned as a restaurant. In the end, the city council denied the project by a 3-2 vote. Mayor Mark Stephenson and Councilmember Karen Jaeger were the 2 yes votes. Both felt the project would help with stormwater pond upgrades and wouldn't add that much traffic to an already busy area.
In Golden Valley, a possible workers' lockout at Honeywell has been averted. Honeywell and about 1,000 union employees with Teamsters Local 1145 have a new contract agreement. The company made concessions on wages and sick pay, while union employees agreed to eliminate health care for retirees beginning next year. Besides Golden Valley, Honeywell has operations in Plymouth, Minneapolis, and Coon Rapids. Brooklyn Park may be looking to the sun to help power some of the major buildings owned by the city.
The City Council heard a proposal for a $3.1 million rooftop solar system that the experts say would pay for itself and eventually save the city money.
Well, I think the idea that we can invest in something that's good for the environment and also has a return back to the taxpayers.
Keeping the lights on and everything running in big buildings like Brooklyn Park's Community Activity Center is not cheap. But they also have big rooftops with lots of available space. Apex Solutions of Anoka is proposing a system that would use solar panels on top of the Community Activity Center, the police station, 3 operations buildings, and the water treatment plant. Altogether, they could generate nearly 1,500 kilowatts of power.
The city is the first draw on that power, so any power generated by the solar panels on top of our roofs goes into our building first. And if for whatever reason, if it's Christmas Day and no one's in the office and things aren't being used that much, we can actually sell it back to Excel.
It's a way to save money that seems to be catching on for cities. In Golden Valley, a 40-kilowatt system was installed on the roof of the park maintenance building 2 years ago. Crystal also puts solar on top of its community center. One big question is, do you pay for it up front or over time? Mayor Lundy says either way, the city should come out ahead down the road.
21st year, you're talking about $450,000 back to the city. So you've got good cash flow to begin with. You get access to, what I call clean energy, and also at the end, there's kind of a payday for the taxpayers.
No decision has been made yet to go forward. That is expected at a city council meeting that's scheduled later this month.
Elections this week in Somalia are a huge milestone, as the African country hasn't had a central government for more than 25 years. When their last leader was ousted in 1991, thousands of Somali refugees came to Minnesota. Community leader and businesswoman Mariam Mohammed spoke to the Golden Valley Rotary about some of the opportunities and the challenges facing the Minnesota Somali community. It was a history lesson of sorts about how Somali refugees came to Minnesota when their country collapsed.
If you are an individual who came as refugee, you have 8 months maximum for the government to help you. In that 8 months, you have to find a job. You have to find a place to live. So the people need to understand what constitutes refugee.
Minnesota's Somali population is estimated at more than 50,000. Coming up, the trick to cutting sugar in your kids' diets. That's next in Health Check.
And later in sports, Maple Grove's girls hockey team is poised for another big postseason run. We'll have their story.
But first, cold and turning colder. With the wind chill on Wednesday, it'll feel like minus 10 degrees. We'll be right back. This Wednesday night, you can learn all about bees and how to protect them. The League of Women's Voters in Crystal, New Hope, and East Plymouth will host Protect Bees and Other Pollinators. The event will be held at 7 p.m. Wednesday at New Hope City Hall, and it's free and open to the public.
He says he's feeling good, but not looking forward to it. Governor Mark Dayton announced today that he will have surgery to remove his prostate following last month's prostate cancer diagnosis. The surgery is scheduled for March 2nd. The cancer was detected early and, according to the governor's office, has not spread beyond his prostate. Dayton is 70 years old. And common for men of his age, prostate cancer has a high survivability rate. It is no secret that kids love sugar. A
new study released by the CDC found that almost 2/3 of children in the United States consumed at least one sugary beverage a day, and about 30% consumed more than 2. In today's Health Check, Delane Cleveland spoke with a local expert about how to get kids to cut back on sugar.
If you take a stroll through the beverage aisle at the grocery store, it's not hard to spot an assortment of sugary drinks and bright packaging featuring characters that appeal to children. But it's not just the marketing that's appealing.
I think the biggest problem is they taste good.
You are some cute little bear.
Elise McGregor is the owner of Little Newtons, a child care center in Plymouth.
Oh, I heard it. Elodie, what'd you say?
Here you'll find attentive students who follow directions and participate in class discussions. But something you won't find is the presence of sugary drinks.
We provide the catering and we provide the liquids, and so we do water and milk, and the biggest thing is that's just easiest and it's the healthiest.
When snack time comes around, the children have no issues drinking milk out of tiny paper cups. It's one of the ways to limit the kids' sugar intake at a time when the CDC says 30% of children in the U.S. consumed more than 2 sugary drinks a day.
What did surprise me was that those that have 2 sugary drinks a day, that's 10% of their caloric intake.
U.S. dietary guidelines suggest that if 10% of your daily calories come from added sugar, then it's too high. And it can lead to weight gain, type 2 diabetes, and cavities in children.
As a parent, you're providing them their lifestyle for the rest of their life. And so if you can get them to be, healthy at a younger age, they're more likely to continue those habits as they continue to grow.
The staff at Little Newton's are doing their part to provide healthy alternatives and keep kids from getting that sugar rush. Besides, all these kids need is a little music from Justin Timberlake to get them going. In Plymouth, Delane Cleveland, CCX News.
If children are used to drinking juice, parents can try diluting the sugary drinks with water. And if they're used to soda, parents can switch that out with sparkling water. Coming up, a story of persistence and one Golden Valley business owner determined to see a package delivered.
But first, it is a huge matchup in boys basketball as #1 Champlin Park visits #2 Maple Grove. John Jacobson has the highlights next in sports.
Not be aggressive right there.
Hi, John Jacobson with sports. They had to turn fans away at the door Monday night at Maple Grove High School. #1 versus #2 in the state in boys basketball proved to be quite a draw. Second-ranked Maple Grove playing host to top-ranked Champlin Park. Opening highlights, pass comes to Tawan Pickford, who hits a three, putting the Crimson up 8-7. It would prove to be their last lead of the night. McKinley Wright passes to a wide-open Theo John for the dunk, and the Rebels are ahead 12-8. Wright is a dangerous weapon on offense. He pulls up and hits a 13-footer for 2 of his team-high 24 points. Rebels lead it by 9. Maple Grove's top scorer, Brad Davison, drives, spins, and scores in the lane. Crimson within 5 at halftime before some enthusiastic fans at Maple Grove. After falling behind by double digits, Davison slices the Champlin Park lead to 4 with that three-pointer. It's 47-43. But the Crimson get no closer. Bennett Otto shot just twice all night, but made both of his three-pointers. Champlin Park's up by 9. Wright drives the basket, then dishes to an open Marcus Hill, who goes baseline to score. Champlin Park remains unbeaten in the season with a 70-60 win.
That's the ability of our team. We all have the ability to go for big numbers, big times. That sometimes there's going to be days where people get in foul trouble and somebody else has to step up.
Champlin Park is now 18-0. They play at Centennial on Thursday. Maple Grove's record is 15-2. They travel to Irondale on Thursday. 2 Maple Grove boys hockey players racked up the points in a win over Osseo Monday night. Both Sam Huff and Justin Kelly broke previous team records for points in the game. Huff scored 2 goals and added 8 assists in a 14-0 win over Osseo, while Kelly netted 3 goals and 6 assists. It's the most one-sided game in the series history. The puck drops for girls hockey section playoffs this week. Maple Grove is ready to take aim at a return trip to the XL Energy Center. Crimson tuned up for Tuesday night's regular season finale against Whiteside at a practice on Monday. Maple Grove comes into that game with a 19-4-1 record. They spent much of the season ranked #2 in the state poll. It's been a good run.
I think we did really well. Like a couple of our seniors last year were some of our goal scorers, and people stepped up, and we've been playing like just as well as we have been last year, almost better. I think we're definitely more consistent.
While they graduated a few players, this is largely the same team that won the Section 5AA title and advanced all the way to the state championship game before falling in overtime last season. That experience means the Crimson players know what to expect in big games.
Amber's just been reiterating that, we got to just play our game and go out there instead of being nervous and having butterflies or whatever, and just go out and play hockey like we know how to play, and I think that just really helps us in this playoff season. So,
I think it's twofold. I think they have a desire and a passion to get back there, and they know what it takes, but they also have that expectation of wanting to get back there. So at times they put a little bit too much stress on themselves. And
You can see Maple Grove's game against Wayzata live on CCX Sports Tuesday night at 7 o'clock or catch the replay Wednesday night at 10 o'clock. As we mentioned, section hockey tournament gets underway this week for girls hockey. Let's look at the seedings in Section 5AA. Maple Grove and Blaine had pretty similar resumes. Bengals get the top seed with a Crimson second for the Section 5AA tournament. Centennial is third, followed by Spring Lake Park, Coon Rapids, Rogers, Anoka, and Champlin Park. Blaine has a first-round bye in the quarterfinals Saturday. It's Rogers versus Spring Lake Park, Coon Rapids at 2:30, followed by Champlin Park versus Maple Grove at 5. Anoka plays Centennial at 7 o'clock. The semifinals are on Valentine's Day, and the championship a week from Friday. An entire tournament at Roseville Ice Arena. In Section 6AA, Edina is the top seed with Creighton-Durham Hall second. Then it's Hopkins Park, Wayzata, Benilde, St. Margaret's, North Metro, and Armstrong Cooper. Edina has a bye Saturday. Benilde and Wayzata open the tournament at noon, followed by North Metro versus Hopkins Park and Armstrong Cooper versus Creighton. The quarterfinals and semifinals are at Parade Ice Garden with a championship set for February 17th at Ritter Arena. That's a look at sports. Mike and Alex, back to you.
All right, thanks, John. And still ahead, a package delivery for years later.
Why it took so long and how a UPS worker in Golden Valley helped save the day. We'll be right back. Now, finally, a man from Georgia recently took to Facebook with a message of thanks to the owner of the Golden Valley UPS store.
The Georgia man is grateful because he got a package 4 years after it was originally sent, and it contained military items and other memorabilia of his veteran father. Take a listen.
Be so much humbled. You couldn't have asked something better start 2017, and it's just priceless. So I want to give a special, humble thank you to Randy Hoist for UPS Store 1886. He's the owner and operator of it in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Randy, you're the best, man.
Tim Burchell recorded the message because Randy Holst at the Golden Valley UPS store worked for 4 years to track him down. The package was originally sent from the Golden Valley store, but it came back due to a wrong address and another error. The store owner knew that the package contained a veteran's framed flag and other memorabilia, so he contacted the Department of Veterans Affairs, he searched phone books and Facebook, and he left dozens of messages until he finally found the right family in Georgia.
I knew there were family photo albums in there, and I've lost both my parents, and I also used to be a photographer, so I really believe in, you know, memories and stories and keeping those memories alive.
The veteran Carl Burnett Burchell died in 1988, but his wife died in 2012, and the package was originally sent to her stepson Tim in 2012, who we now know is in Georgia, thanks to Randy Holst at the Golden Valley UPS store.
Oh, it gets complicated,
It does get complicated.
but persistence paying off
He
here.
did not give up.
Wow, that's amazing.
And Tim's grateful for that package
Good
and
job.
the memories.
Yeah.
That does it for us. Thanks so much for joining us.
And we will see you back here again on Wednesday, starting at 4.